In the silent chambers of the human mind, love is not born from destiny. It is engineered. People think women fall in love because of charm, good looks, or perfect behavior. But the truth is far more psychological and far more dangerous. A woman falls in love when certain emotional triggers inside her subconscious are activated. Triggers she doesn't see, triggers she doesn't understand, and triggers she cannot resist. The man who understands these triggers doesn't chase love, he creates it. He becomes the man whose presence lingers in her thoughts, whose absence pulls her heart, and whose energy she cannot escape. Welcome to MindVelli, where we don't study love, we decode it. Today we uncover the psychological triggers that make women fall in love, Machiavellian truths. Point 1. The duality of emotional tension. A woman doesn't fall in love with comfort alone. She falls in love with the tension between comfort and uncertainty. This duality creates emotional electricity. A Machiavellian man understands that too much comfort makes him predictable, while too much distance makes him forgettable. So he creates a rhythm, a psychological push and pull that keeps her emotionally invested. He shows stability through his presence, but unpredictability through his timing. He gives warmth through his energy, but mystery through his silence. He gives her emotional safety, but he never gives her complete access to his inner world. This combination triggers the dopamine chase mechanism inside her mind, the same mechanism that makes people crave what they cannot fully possess. She starts thinking about him more. She starts imagining him more. She starts questioning what he feels, what he wants, who he truly is. And in that questioning, she becomes emotionally attached. Because the greatest desire is not for what is fully known, but for what is almost known, but not quite. This emotional tension becomes his power. His unpredictability becomes her curiosity, and her curiosity becomes attraction. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man she has fully figured out. She falls in love with the man who keeps her discovering. Point 2. The mirror of unlocked femininity. A woman does not fall in love with a man simply because he is strong, handsome, or intelligent. She falls in love with the man who activates the deepest parts of her femininity, the parts she doesn't even fully understand. Most men try to impress a woman with their achievements. The Machiavellian man does something very different. He becomes the mirror in which she sees the most radiant version of herself. When she speaks, he listens with presence, not like a man seeking approval, but like a man studying the depths of a soul. When she laughs, he lets her feminine energy expand, not by trying to outshine her, but by giving her space to glow. When she expresses emotion, he doesn't judge, he doesn't panic, he doesn't collapse. Instead, he radiates a calm masculine polarity that makes her feel safe to be fully expressive, fully emotional, fully feminine. This safety is not weakness, it is power. Because a woman falls in love when she feels more like a woman in a man's presence, when she feels softer, more expressive, more desired, more emotionally alive, more connected to her deeper self. He unlocks emotional doors inside her that other men didn't even know existed. She begins to associate her feminine awakening with him, her emotional expansion with him, her deepest feelings with him. This forms a psychological bond far stronger than attraction. It becomes identity-level attachment. She doesn't fall in love because he is extraordinary. She falls in love because she feels extraordinary in his presence. And once a woman links her femininity to a man's energy, she cannot emotionally detach from him. He becomes the source. He becomes the spark. He becomes the emotional gravity she keeps returning to. Point 3. The power of silent dominance. A woman falls in love not with a loud man, but with a man whose silence has weight. Silent dominance is not about ignoring her. It's about having an energy so grounded, so self-controlled, that your presence speaks louder than your words. Most men explain themselves too much. They justify, overtalk, overshare, and oversell. This kills mystery and lowers masculine polarity. But the Machiavellian man uses silence as a psychological trigger. He listens more than he speaks. He watches more than he reacts. He chooses his words with intention, not insecurity. This makes her wonder, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? Why is he so calm when other men break? Your silence becomes a puzzle, and the mind always chases what it can't fully decode. Silent dominance triggers 3 things in her. Respect, because emotional control signals strength. Curiosity, because she wants to understand your inner world. And attraction, because your calmness makes her feel safe and feminine. You don't dominate her with force. You dominate with presence, not by speaking louder, but by needing to speak less. A woman falls in love when a man's silence makes her heart speak louder. Point 4. The law of strategic absence. A woman's desire is not built by constant presence, but by the subtle art of strategic absence. Most men make the mistake of being too available. They text too much, reply too quickly, and overwhelm with attention. This kills attraction because neediness destroys desire. The Machiavellian man understands the psychology of space. He creates distance, not to punish, but to ignite curiosity and emotional longing. By not being constantly reachable, he triggers her mind to fill in the gaps. Her imagination starts to run wild. What is he doing? Who is he with? What does he really think of me? This scarcity is magnetic. It subtly signals that your attention is valuable, not disposable. But strategic absence isn't coldness. It's measured, deliberate. It's about balance. Enough presence to maintain connection. Enough distance to create intrigue. When executed well, a woman begins to crave your attention. She anticipates your messages, thinks of your conversations, and unconsciously ties her emotional highs to your presence. In short, she falls in love not just with who you are, but with what you represent. A man whose attention is rare, meaningful, and earned. Point 5. The mirror of desire. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man just for who he is. She falls in love with the man who reflects the best version of herself. The Machiavellian man understands this subtle truth. It's not about showing her your strength or intelligence. It's about making her feel powerful, feminine, and desired in your presence. He mirrors her energy without judgment. He amplifies her emotions without taking over. He makes her laugh, feel seen, and emotionally alive. When she experiences herself at her highest, she associates that feeling with you. This is emotional imprinting. It's subtle, it's unconscious, and it's extremely effective. A woman begins to chase the feeling you give her, not the man himself. She doesn't just desire you, she desires how she feels when she's with you.
The Machiavellian man becomes the vessel of her emotional awakening, and once she ties her feminine energy to your presence, her attraction becomes inevitable. Point 6. The pull of mystery. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man who is fully exposed. She falls in love with the man who keeps her guessing. Mystery is not deception, it's controlled revelation. The Machiavellian man never hands her the full story at once. He reveals just enough to intrigue, just enough to connect, but always leaves layers unexplored. This subtle withholding triggers her mind to engage, to imagine, to question, to invest emotionally. The human brain craves completion, and when it cannot fully solve the puzzle, it becomes obsessed. By creating mystery, he activates psychological tension. She